Welcome to Retirement with Jim. So today we're going to talk about how much are you planning to retire on? Have you given it some thought? So before we get started, please consider hitting my hit the like and subscribe button. It helps my channel grow. And feel free to leave comments. Love to hear from you. Love to know what you're thinking. So with that, let's get started. So how much are you thinking about retiring on, or even have you thought about what that is? 65 to 80% of people kind of look at their pre-work income. So what they're looking at is, what I mean by that is, how much money you're making as you get ready to retire is kind of what people, they don't want to adjust downward. So they, of course, want to live on that amount of income. They're comfortable with it. Their life is good. You're paying the bills. So have you given thought to whether what is it going to take to maintain that same level of income and, per month? And, do you want to make changes, or, do you need to make changes? Maybe living a little on less, so what's your thoughts on that? So about a third of people plan on living on just Social Security because that's all they can do. That's the reality of their situation. They don't either have a 401k or they don't have money saved, and they can no longer work, and they're just going to have to find a way to do it on Social Security. And there's a lot more people, amazingly, in that situation than you think. Most people kind of look at the combination of, and I'm looking at my notes here, your Social Security, your 401k or pension plan. Maybe for some people's cases, they have rental income that will sustain them. And of course, the last category is part-time work. People say, okay, I'm going to work part-time, and that money is dedicated to, the bills and their ability to live. So part-time work is part of their plan. They don't really plan on permanently retiring. They'll work part-time to some degree, whether it's a side gig, a side hustle, something that, just gives them steady income during the time they're retired. So next thing, you got to go where you live. It matters. Are you living in a place that, where you're just going to stay? Is your house paid for or almost paid for? And what's the cost of living in the part of the country where you're at? So does it make sense to just stay where you're at, not incur any cost? And, and if you have a paid for a home, it's part of the plan, makes it, a little easier to accept. You kind of know what your real estate taxes are. Not every part of the country has HOAs, but some do, and, all things to consider when it comes to that. So, if your home is paid for, you're just paying for your real estate taxes and your insurance on the home. So the next up is, a budget, putting a budget together for, when you're retired. Excuse me. So it's key to success because it's going to help you determine what you have to do and where you're, all the factors. How much money are you going to allocate, for that budget? And you have to have a budget so you can really understand what you can afford and what you can't afford. And the budgets kind of work into these categories. So you can decide on which category you think you want to be in. So 15% live on $1,000 or less. Now, I'd love to know how someone manages that. Sign me up, because I would love to have a budget of $1,000 just to pay the bills, and there you go. Excuse me. 33% are living on $1,000 to $2,000 a month is what they have budgeted. Again, a pretty low number. Next is 20% are in the $2,000 to $3,000 category. Then there's 13% who are in the $3,000 to $4,000 a month category. Next up is 8%, which are, going to be in the $4,000 to $5,000 category. And 5% are in the category of budgeting $5,000 to $6,000 a month. 27%, which I thought was amazingly high, are in the $6,000 to $7,000 category. And this doesn't surprise me. 3% are in $7,000 a month or more. Those are people who have plenty of money saved and are, going to spend freely without any reserves and any worries. So keep in mind that, of your cost, and, have you provided, maybe taken out some insurance for long-term health care? Because just for point of reference, assisted living is at $72,000 a year, which comes out to about $6,000 a month. So, that can really eat up any savings, 1, 2, 3, gone. And when you're factoring in your Social Security, now you can go to the Social Security website and see what you're projected to get. But 90% of 65 years old and older are getting an average of $1,975 a month. So just so you know where that kind of averages out to. Now, it has changed. I think with the salaries being hopefully higher, you can stand, to make more in Social Security per month. But of course, you got to look at all of these things. So which category would you like to be in? It takes some thought. It takes a lot of planning and a lot of research where you're kind of going, where am I comfortable? Because quite honestly, most people don't adjust downward. They get used to the amount of income and that you make, and that's what you want to live on. So one way to test drive that is, put a budget together that you're going to retire in, and see if you can live in that for 6 months. Say, okay, I'm going to take this out for a spin for 6 months and see what I can do. And you can have a good feel for, oh yeah, I can do this. I can make this work. Or you can go, oh, okay, no, I'm really okay and quite comfortable and I'm good. You might even be able to lower that a little bit. Or you might look at that and go, oh man, I can't make this work. I'm going to have to go up to the next level, and which means, do you have enough income coming in from Social Security, 401k, or pension? If you possibly own rental income, a lot of people do. And last but not least, the part-time work. More and more people are going, I'm going to have to work, at least some, work part-time. The nice thing about part-time work is you can find a lot of that to fit your own schedule. Work the day, work the days of the week you want, the hours you want. You have a lot more opportunities to make that work for yourself. So it's just food for thought. So anyway, that's what the categories are. Let me know what category you think you want to fit in. What category are you going to try and make an effort to be in? So with that, I'm going to tell you have a great day, and I will see you in the next one.